Malavoglia. Malavoglia is the best-known novel by Giovanni Verga. It was first printed in 1881. An English edition. The House by the Medlar Tree, 1890, translated by Mary A. Craig, was published in the Continental Classics series. Summary. In the village of Aci Trezza in the province of Catania lives the Toscano family, who, although extremely hard-working, has been nicknamed, for antiphrasis, the Malavoglia, the reluctant ones. The head of the family is Padron Tony, a widower, who lives at the house by the Medlar Tree with his son Bastian, called Bastianazzo, despite his being anything but tall, and the wife of the latter called Maria, nicknamed Marzella Longa. Bastian has 5 children, Antoni, Luca, Filomena, Mena, Alessio, called Alessi, and Rosalia, Leah. The main source of income is La Providenza, the Providence, which is a small fishing boat. In 1863, Antoni, the eldest of the children, leaves for the military service. To try to make up for the loss of income which his absence will cause, Padron Tony attempts a business venture and buys a large amount of lupins. The load is entrusted to his son Bastianazzo, the plan being to sell them in riposto to make a profit. However, Bastianazzo and the merchandise are tragically lost during a storm. Following this misfortune, the family finds themselves with a triple misfortune: the debt caused by the lupins which were bought on credit, the Providence to repair, and the loss of Bastianazzo, an important and loved member of the family. Having finished his military service, Antoni returns to the laborious life of his family very reluctantly. Having seen the riches and splendor outside his small village, and does not represent any support to the already precarious economic situation of his family. The family's misfortunes are far from over. Luca, one of Padron Tony's grandsons, dies at the Battle of Lissa, which leads to the breaking off of the betrothal of Mena to Brasicipolla. The debt from the lupin venture causes the family to lose their beloved Casa del Nespolo, the house by the Medlar Tree, and gradually the reputation of the family worsens until they reach humiliating levels of poverty. A further wreck of the Providence leaves Padron Tony near death, although fortunately he manages to recover. Later Marza, his daughter-in-law, dies of cholera. The firstborn, Antoni, decides to go away from the village to seek his fortune, only to return destitute. He loses any desire to work, turning to alcoholism and idleness. The departure of Antoni had forced the family to sell the Providence to get the money needed to get back the Casa del Nespolo, which had never been forgotten. The mistress of the osteria, Santuzza, who is already coveted by the sharkish Don Michel, becomes infatuated with Antoni, serving him for free in the tavern. The conduct of Antoni and the lamentations of her father convince her to turn her emotions from him, and to return to Don Michel. This leads to a brawl between the two. A brawl that results in the stabbing of Don Michel in the chest by Antoni during an anti-smuggling raid. Antoni ends up in prison. At his trial, after hearing rumors about a relationship between Don Michel and his granddaughter Leah, Padron Tony passes out and falls to the ground. Now old, his conversation is disjointed and he recites his proverbs without much awareness of what is going on. Leah, the younger sister, becomes the victim of vicious village gossip, runs away and becomes a prostitute. Mena, because of the shameful situation of her sister, feels that she cannot marry Alfio, even though they love each other, and instead remains at home to care for Alessi and Nunziata's children. Alessi, the youngest of the brothers, has remained a fisherman and with hard work manages to rebuild the family fortunes to the point at which they can repurchase the house by the Medlar Tree. Having bought the house, what is left of the family visits the hospital where the old Padron Tony is being kept, to inform him of the good news and to announce his imminent return home. It is the last moment of happiness for the old man, who dies on the day he was to return. Even his desire to die in the house where was born is never granted. When Tony is released from prison and comes back to the village, he realizes that he cannot stay because of all that he has done. He has excluded himself from his family by systematically denouncing their values. End of the summary. Thank you. Thank you.